how you can generate revenue using your car every time you drive it and even when you're sleeping. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode at NOVARISE Invest, your channel for financial education. Today's video will be about how to use your car as a tool for marketing purposes to generate visibility, brand awareness into your company. You can be a realtor, you can be a business owner, call it the owner of a restaurant, a cleaning company, you name it, right? So the intent of this episode is to actually show you how your car can be a great asset for your business and how you can be efficient in terms of time and also cost when it comes to the marketing of your company. The way we do marketing with our car, this is Spartacus right here, is through this QR code that you see right here. So in today's video, we're gonna teach you how to create a QR code, and at the same time, we're gonna constantly monitor the progress of how many scans this QR code gets in order to help your business gain visibility. So the video is gonna start at a specific point in New York, and we're gonna make a tour for about 3 hours or so. And in that tour, we're gonna make a couple of stops in different neighborhoods and check out some houses and what makes up a neighborhood, because this is a real estate channel. So we wouldn't be doing it any justice if we didn't talk about real estate. And halfway through the episode, Anthony is actually gonna show you how you can actually create that QR code. And then towards the end, we're gonna go ahead and look at this stuff. Now, I wanna make an emphasis on this. This is not just about being creative with your marketing. This episode is also intended to highlight the benefits that you get in your tax codes, because this is an expense. Your company car becomes an expense, and any marketing related expenses, it's also an expense for your company, which all combined are tax deductible, which in the end can help you retain more revenue in the form of tax deduction. Remember what Robert Kiyosaki said, it's not so much about how much you make, but it's all about how much money you manage to keep in-house. So without further ado, let's get started with our tour. Okay, so we're making our very first stop, and we actually didn't make it that far from the park, which is where we originally recorded the intro of this video. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna quickly pull up an application to show you how you can incorporate this in your daily routine, so you can check out some properties in the event that you're in the market and looking to buy. And just to reiterate how you could be making money right now while you're searching on your phone for properties to look at, remember, by having the QR code on the outside of your car, people are already walking by, people are already curious, and by the time you're actually doing research, some people, like the ones that we have right over there checking us out, could be scanning our QR code right now, and the same could happen to you. All right, so right now what we're gonna do is to open up this app on Zillow. And originally what I was doing is just to quickly look at what was in the vicinity. And so the app, it's actually location efficient or location smart, whatever you want to call it. It picks up where you are and where your car is parked, and it automatically comes up with suggestions just like you see on the list. And the way to do that is you just simply come into this box right here. And as you can see at the very top here, there's a selection in blue that says current location. Now, you click on current location and you'll see how that automatically is gonna point out everything that's available for sale in the area that you're parked. So like I said, we started off recording in Astoria Park, and as you zoom out, you can kind of like get familiarized with this area. So this is the area in between Astoria and Stanway. And as you can see, houses in New York are not cheap. So everything is above $1 million here. Some of them even reaching 2 million. And what we want to do is just to be able to check out the specs of the property. So what we are going to do is to hit here right on the list on the left side. And then you're going to see a couple of properties that are available in the market. So you have this one here at 1.38A, another one at 1.38A, 1194. And here's one that actually caught my attention. So king size bed for 1.33, and it's in Long Island City. and it shows you the map. So it shows you the spec, the beautiful pictures. I'm sure you can check that out later. But as you can scroll down, I want to see what it has to offer that is special. So it is explaining that it's been in the market for around 39 days, and there's a total of, under 2,500 views, which makes it, in demand. And it shows you what it has to offer. So welcome to your new home. And then it shows that it's only 1 block away from Astoria Park, which is great for those who love to have a view. Astoria Park is right across from Manhattan. So every morning when you get out of the house, you can actually walk 1 block and have the beautiful, breathtaking view of Manhattan, the Manhattan skyline. And over here, it shows you that it's nearby a school and how big it is, right? So that's a nice and great description for those who are actually realtors. The key is in the description. Provide as many details as possible for your prospects, because you, as a salesperson, you're there not only to sell, but you're also there to help them visualize, picture what their life could be in that household, just the way I just described it. Oh, think about you waking up in the morning and going for a morning run if you're kind of the active person, or if you're not, maybe taking a sunset walk with your loved ones and with your families while looking at the Manhattan view, right? And so as you scroll down, you will see here that it highlights any private bathrooms, private outdoor spaces and stuff like that. Just highlight the key offers that the house have to offer the prospects. And as you're scrolling down, I want you to focus on this section right here, which I always thought it was extremely interesting in terms of market research. As you can see, this area in Astoria / Long Island City / Stanway has been in an upward trend over time, right? So you can see where the prices are looking like in 2014, 2013, and you can see the comparison. So in this time around June 2014, the house was going for under $800,000, as you can see here on the screen. And then as you move up, you can see here in 2015, it was first sold at $770,000. And then over time, it continued to go up in value. Then it's no surprise in May 2021, prices were off the roof. There has been a bit of an adjustment or a market correction, depending on what you want to call it. But then eventually it picked up again on the current point, asking for 1.335. And according to the estimate here, this is based on comparables in the area of properties that have sold in the past, and based on what is shown here on the screen, we're seeing an estimate of $1.316 million for this house. Granted, you always have to remember buyers are emotional. If you're selling to investors, it's a little bit different, because real estate investors are convinced based on numbers, based on cash flow, how much they can generate. But if you are selling to a home buyer, they can see this amount. Well, it's estimated at 1.36, but you know what? I can envision myself living in this house and yada yada, and they will be willing to bid a higher offer if they truly, truly fall in love with the property, right? And then as you scroll down, I also want to show you the history, just to show you that even though there are market corrections from time to time, housing prices over time do go up. They go on an upward trend. So you can see the price history here, 2015 and 2022. It seems that the family that lived here has remained for quite some time. They built a lot of memories, and now they're ready to get it sold. And I also want to show you the tax history, because it is important to understand, because a lot of people have left me in the comment sections questions about how their fixed mortgage kept going up in price over time. It's not about the mortgage and the principal, because if you're locked in the rate, it will stay constant. But if the property values in your area do go up, then that means that your mortgage payment will adjust according to how much your property taxes do go up. So here you can see 2008, 9, 10, slowly you can see the transition starting in 2014, how property taxes started going up from $3,000 all the way to 5,414, 6,694, 7,023, and closing in 2020 with 7,444. As you scroll down here, for those who are actually interested in renting out this property, you do have the rental value that it's an estimate. Remember, sometimes these numbers, you have to take it with a grain of salt because there's no way that a house of this magnitude can rent for $2,000. You have to keep in mind to do that market research and understand what's happening in the area, which in a little bit we're going to explore walking. This area in particular, Astoria and Stanway, Long Island City, is very well known for their beautiful houses, but also for having a high rental demand. So most likely, whatever you're seeing in here in the screen about rent being 1,928, it's probably the price of a studio apartment or maybe a one-bedroom apartment. And it seems that the house that we're seeing on the screen, maybe in the past it was a multi-family, meaning there was multiple apartments in there. Could be 2 families, could be 3 families living in there, and then eventually they converted that into a single family home. All of this you will know as you get to know the market. I just happen to be familiar with this because I live in New York City, but just something for you to keep in mind where you're conducting your market research. Also, nearby schools, very important to understand your target audience. If you're targeting families with children, you have to make sure that whatever property you are intending to buy or intending to sell, you can sell them on that selling point, which is the school. Hey, you have PS 122, it's rated 8 out of 10, which is a decently high score as opposed to Long Island City High School, which is ranking 3 out of 10, which is not necessarily the best score available in the area. And then as you scroll down, you get more insights of the neighborhood. So in New York City, walkability is a must. And the higher the score, the better. And as you can see here in the screen, we have Astoria as the neighborhood with a walk score of 90, which makes it extremely walkable. There are train stations nearby. There are supermarkets or grocery shops and restaurants, everything all within a walking distance. So it is really rare that you will really need a car to be around this neighborhood. And for those who are looking for legal protection, depending on your current conditions, you can see here on the screen, we have LGBTQ data source, any employment protection, public accommodations, and stuff like that. So now let's just go ahead and check out the neighborhood. All right, so we made it to the house, and I was actually a little surprised to see the outside of it because the construction, the architecture of this is slightly different than the majority of the houses that we see here in Astoria. So as you notice, this house is actually built out with cement, and it looks a little bit different on the outside in terms of curb appeal. We have a nice blue grayish colors, but then if you look at the back side of this, you will realize that the majority of the properties in the Astoria area are actually built out with brick, just the way you see right now. Personally, that's actually my favorite type of construction because I've lived in different type of houses and I noticed that these ones are the ones that preserve the best energy. So there's something about bricks that helps you be more energy efficient, at least in my opinion, because I've noticed that in terms of utilities, my bills tend to be more affordable in that sense. So in the summer, having a brick house, the interior of the house feels a lot cooler, especially with a 90-degree weather. And so when you're turning your AC on, it doesn't really demand as much energy to cool off the house because it is already cool on the inside. Not to mention the fact that it retains the cool air on the inside better. Same thing happens during the winter, right? Because in New York, we have all 4 stations and it gets extremely cold. I've noticed that it also takes less to cool down the house because everything gets trapped on the inside. That way, making your bills a lot cheaper and also keeping your family warm. And over here, you can see there's a little bit of a mixed construction in the area as well. We see what seems to be a hotel. I didn't really pay close attention when I was driving by, or at least office spaces. But then when you see here, you also see a bit of a mix of architecture. Once again, the majority of the houses are brick-based, but from time to time, you'll see some houses that are built from a different material, just like the blue one that you see over there with the verandas on the side. And then, of course, you have a nice apartment building over here, and that's the highway over there connecting you to the what I believe to be the Triborough Bridge. At least that's what it seems like from here. So now let's just go ahead and check out the area to see what else this area has to offer. All right, so we're in the vicinities of the house that we just checked out. And just to show you, here's the highway taking you onto the Tri-Bottle Bridge. Down that way, it's also the park with the beautiful view towards Manhattan. And they have a nice part here where they can just come hang out, play volleyball. And as you can see, plenty of sidewalks, very walkable. And also just to highlight once again, the construction in this area, for the most part, it's made out of brick houses. So we are just gonna go ahead and walk back to our original point, which is where we checked out the house. And while we're walking, our car, it's parked over there and it's doing the job for us. People are stopping by, scanning the QR code. Same thing could happen for your business. You can leave your car on the side and as you're walking, it's still working for you even when you're not actively driving it or even there. You can take care of multiple things in one shot. How efficient is that, huh? So now we're at our starting point of the first house that we checked out, and we're gonna head to our next location. All right, so I know we promised that we were gonna head on the road and start showing the QR code, but we did not realize that it was getting late. It is actually almost 1 o'clock and we're hungry. So we decided to stay in Astoria still. We're actually 10 minutes away from the house that we just showed you. And as you can see, it's almost like day and night. So it looked very residential where we were, and it was only 10 minutes away. And now we're in an area where it's full of businesses. So we have a driving school, we have a municipal parking, we have a grocery store over there, we have a pharmacy, we have florist, and we're actually underneath one of the train stations. And fun fact, you will think that by being close to the station, property prices will drop because of the noise that it generates. And eventually you're gonna hear another train come by as I'm talking, and it's really, really noisy. And we're in fact inside of the car and it's still noisy. So what's interesting about New York is that noise doesn't seem too much of an issue that could be impacting property values in comparison to other areas. Because in the case of New York, remember the fact about walkability? People want to be close to public transportation and they want to be able to walk everywhere as fast as you can, and they want to get to the destination as fast as they can. So by having a property nearby the train station, that means people can get to work faster and they can move around faster. How do they live with it? They just simply get used to the noise. Although you do have the option to soundproof your properties through the windows. See, very noisy, and we're inside the car. Now, another tip I wanted to share with you. I know we had the option to park in that municipal parking, but we realized that it would actually reduce the visibility that we're trying to get. So we decided to find a spot on the street. And I know some people might not necessarily like to do that because you're chancing scratches or other people hitting your car, but it's the intent of the business, right? So we picked an area that it's very high traffic. The streets over here are mixed use. You are allowed to park passenger cars as well as business cars. So it is ideal for us because this location right here where we decided to park, it's right underneath the train track, right underneath the exit of the train track. So you will see people coming down the stairs, getting off the train, and the very first thing they see hopefully will be our Tesla, our car, and the sign with the QR code saying learn real estate for free, because we're trying to get financial education spread it out as much as we can, so that way we can help impact the life of our viewers for the better. Whatever your purpose is, whether it's to bring more visibility to your business, keep that in mind and try to park it in an area where there is more foot traffic or more traffic overall, so that people can have a higher chance to check out the car, check out the QR code, and scan it. So now we're gonna go eat, and feel free to join us. All right, so finally done with lunch, nice belly filled up, and we're gonna go ahead and get started with our journey. So we're gonna start right up on Northern Boulevard, at the start of Northern Boulevard, or at least what I believe to be the start of Northern Boulevard. And we're gonna start up at the Planet Fitness. So we're actually right now here, and we're gonna head out over there and start our journey all the way to see how many scans we get throughout the way, assuming we haven't got a couple already while we had our car parked while grabbing lunch. So happy journey. All right, so we decided to make a quick stop. We are in Murray Hill, which is a section of Flushing, Queens, where you see the show The Nanny, right? And so I will say this is about 15 minutes into our trajectory of the total trip that we have planned out for today. And I wanted to make a quick stop just to show you the differences and how different neighborhoods transition from one type of demographic to another. So we're still on Northern Boulevard. That's literally right behind us, and eventually we're going to show you, which in other words is the 25A route. And we are currently in a shopping mall. So I wanted to stop by here in this shopping center because I wanted to show you the different types of real estate that you could be investing in. So as you can see, we are in Korean town, so to speak. This is a highly Asian populated area, particularly by Koreans. And I wanted to highlight the importance of knowing what to do when you're investing in commercial real estate, particularly shopping centers. You see, when you invest in a shopping center, you are doing more than just being a landlord. It's not just simply you coming in and be able to collect rent. It is your job to ensure that the businesses that you're placing in your shopping center are also successful. How do you do that? The way you can do that is by ensuring that there's some type of, I don't know if the word would be codependence, but I would say more of like complementing one another. So whatever type of service that you place in an area, they have to provide a service that could complement the business that you're placing next door. So for example, if you are having, let's say, a rental available and you rent it out to Home Depot, right? What do people in Home Depot typically want to do? They want to buy items that are for home improvements. So ideally, what you want to place next to it is something that could help them complement the home. And that's why typically when you see a Home Depot nearby, you will either see a Target, you will either see a Bed Bath & Beyond, because they also sell household items that will allow the shopper go from buying tools at Home Depot and just simply going next door and buying home decorating stuff. So if you pay attention to the shopping center, you will see that there's a variety of businesses complementing one another. So we can start off with that place right there, which is a supermarket. But then when you go on to the left side, we are seeing a bunch of different restaurants, which means that this is a good spot for people to come in and want to eat. You don't want to just simply isolate one restaurant, because chances are for people to come here to just eat at that restaurant, it's kind of unreasonable. You want to have a variety where people get to choose from. So one way or the other, your shopping center will be known as the go-to place for food. Call it a bunch of different cafes or restaurants or a karaoke area, all the way to a supermarket or a grocery stop. There is a bank here, also very, very handy, because people who want to consume, want to eat, they either want to take cash out because maybe they prefer to pay everything with cash, or maybe they can just do some transactions here in the bank, and then by the time they're done, they can come over here and grab a quick lunch, or maybe an early dinner, and off they go their way. And now I want to take you a little closer over here, just to highlight again the type of architecture that is very typical of Queens. We see brick houses again, and for what I can see here, these are typically multifamily houses. So there's 3 floors in there. So most likely this is a house that has 3 apartments in it. So first apartment, second, and third. And then going around in here, that is Northern Boulevard, that's 25A. And we can see another shopping center right across the street. And if you pay attention to it, you will see that the type of stores that are actually in that shopping center are completely different from the ones that you see on this side, which is mainly restaurants. Over there are usually service type of businesses. So you will see an insurance agency over there, another insurance agency, easy payment systems. There's an orthopedic type of businesses. So, and there's cosmetic or anything that's spa related. So mainly business for services, and this is mainly food. So there you have it on commercial real estate. All right, so we're halfway through and we decided to make a stop just to give you a bit of a contrast in between the neighborhoods. So right now we enter Long Island. So for those who have watched Friends, you've heard of Monica or Ross living in Long Island. So this is where we are. And we're actually at the start of Long Island and Nassau County. So right now we're in an area called Manhasset. So Manhasset is known for anything that is luxurious, like the malls, and also the very expensive houses in the area. So just to give you a little bit of a contrast, I'm gonna pull up my app again and show you a little bit about the prices of the properties around in this area to give you a bit of a contrast, just so you can, you know, for fun, I guess, to get to know what's around here in New York City. It's not all about the subway and the noise and stuff like that. You can get nicer slash quieter areas further out, depending on what you're looking for. So I'm just gonna pull up the ad, and same thing, we're gonna come here into the map. So you're gonna press current location and then look at the listing of the properties over here. So now, as you can see, the markup of the pricing, it's a little bit more than what we saw before back in Queens. So we have anything that could range from $4.3 million to 2.5. So just for thought. And we're gonna go check out the list around here. And I think there was one that we saw. Oh, here, I marked it with a heart. This one in Manhasset, the asking price for this property is $3.198 million. We cannot go in because it is a gated community, but we're probably gonna try and show you a little bit how everything looks on the outside. Hopefully the police doesn't catch us or something like that, because they might find it weird. So here, just to give you an overview of what this property looked like, that is indeed a beautiful kitchen, nice and perfect, my kind of kitchen. And as you're scrolling down, as you can see, the further out in the area, the more natural light you're gonna get, because the houses are not cramped one next to another as you saw in Queens. So there are more chances of you having windows throughout the house, as opposed to the houses that you saw in Queens where you can only afford to have windows on the front of the house and on the back of the house because they're stuck up right next to one another. So nice staircase, beautiful, gorgeous oven that you see right there. Oh my goodness, it's great. Look at that bedroom, look at the bathrooms, is excellent. I'm sure you can check out the pictures on your own. So what I want to do is just to give you a bit of an overview. This is also a brick house, and the specs of this house is 4 bedrooms, 5 baths. And as you can see here, I just want to scroll down into the stats just to show you a little bit about what makes up the housing prices of this area. So there has been a bit of a fluctuation here, as you can see. The estimate for this property goes at 3.195. The range goes somewhere between 3 million to 3.39. But then, as you can see here on this chart, it's not as upward trendy as you will expect. The prices around in this area are pretty flat. There was a spike in 2017, and this property was sold for $830,000, and then it drop precipitously from what I see, and then it just stay where it is, and then it just jumped up right around the pandemic in 2020. You can see prices skyrocketing, going all the way up, all the way to 3 million, which is the pricing that you're seeing right now. And in terms of price history, it's basically what we saw on the chart, but now there's a list here where you can see the transition and the evolution of the pricing. And as you go further down, we also have the taxes in the area. So as you can see, the neighborhood is a lot more expensive in comparison to the taxes that we saw in Queens. I believe the numbers that I shared at the beginning were in the 7,000 range. And based on what you can see here in the screen, we're talking about 15,000, double of that, more than double of that. Of course, you get more curb appeal, the roads are actually nicer, there's less potholes. So, you know, you sort of like compensate for that, because the more taxes you pay, the expectation is the nicer the neighborhood, right? And same thing over here, rental value around here. I don't think this is accurate because there's not much of a rental here, but this is just my opinion. I'm not too familiar with what Manhasset has to offer. I don't live here, although I'm pretty familiar with the area in the sense that I know that the expensive houses are around here. School-wise, pretty good scoring, as you can see, 8 out of 10 and 10 out of 10. So very, very good for those who are looking to raise a family and you have the right income to be able to fit into this neighborhood. Okay, so now let's just step out of the car and see if we can actually take a sneak peek. If not, then hey, at least we try. Now, I want to take a moment to remind you that if you like this episode, feel free to hit the like button right here below so you can help this episode rank and help others like you looking for information of this kind. And if you happen to know somebody who will find this information useful, feel free to share the love and send this episode their way so you can help change their lives for the better. Back to the episode. All right, it turns out we can get into the area, not necessarily into the house, but we spotted a couple of houses around here that we wanted to share with you. So as you can see, the architecture around here is a little bit different. Like I said, you can afford to have more windows. So the houses around here are definitely a lot bigger than the ones that you will see in Queens. And walkability around here, I think it's somewhat limited. As you can see, there are not sidewalks over here. So it's just you and your car. Not much space to really walk, so you have to be careful. In fact, we needed to hop on someone else's property just to be able to record this section right here because, again, no sidewalks in the area. So we got another nice house over there, very beautiful architecture, and as you can see, it's not as standard as the properties that you will see in Queens, where like pretty much all of the houses kind of like look alike. You have a little bit more of freedom around here in terms of the decor on the outside. Definitely more green space in comparison to the city. And now we're just gonna walk down here and check another one over here. So back in Queens, in New York City, it becomes a little bit more challenging to have more green space because the areas are a lot smaller. As you can see here, there's more pine trees, more green spaces that you can afford to do to ensure your privacy, and you get more clean air too. So another beautiful house over here. I love the fact that it's all brick. Once again, I'm a big fan of brick houses, and the windows, plenty of natural light coming in. And then another house over here, also driveways are a lot bigger. You see very few cars on the street. For the most part, everybody has a big driveway where they can park multiple cars in here, which is something that in New York City, it doesn't always come included with the property. You are lucky if you can park up to 2 cars in your driveway. The rest, you're just gonna have to either figure it out at public parking elsewhere or just simply look for a spot on the street and just park it out. So that's it, let's just continue. All right, so we are at 75% of the way, and I believe this is going to be our last stop. Originally, we had a longer trajectory, but it is getting a little bit late. It's 6 p.m., and usually around this time, people are going to start coming home, which means that by the time we reach our last destination, either things could get a little darker, so it's not really good for our lighting and our recording. Plus, we don't want to creep people out by just popping up in the neighborhood out of the blue and just start recording their houses on the outside. So right now we are on the outer skirts of Huntington, and we decided to make a stop here in Cold Spring Harbor State Park. And the house that we picked, it's around this vicinity. And again, we picked this house just to give you a bit of a contrast as to pricing and just to help you see that the further out you go, the lower the prices. By that, I'm not saying that the property prices are going to be ridiculously cheap or that the housing prices are not going to be worth it. It's just that in comparison to the prices that you saw in the city or the prices that you saw in Manhasset, this area becomes a little bit more affordable, so to speak, for New York State. So let's just go into the app and quickly take a look at it. All right, so once again, we're going to come here onto the magnifying glass box. I'm going to pick current location, and then in current location you can see that the prices of some of the properties around here drop. You can still see some houses in the millions, but you can see that for the most part, most of them are under the $1 million mark. So you can see this one for $949,000, $699, $789, $995, and we're gonna go ahead and check on the list. So now you see that the architecture and the area looks a little bit different. You no longer see brick houses around in the area, so they have more of that beachy vibe. They're brightened in color as well. And there's one property in particular around here. It was this one that we picked up on. So I forgot to mark it with a star, so let's just go ahead and do that now so that way I don't forget. So this property here on Cold Spring Harbor has an asking price of $789,000. So let's just come in here and check it out. As you can see, still very pretty, very homey on the inside, relatively modernized. You got nice hardwood floors. The windows are available throughout the house, but as you can see, the architecture is a little bit different. While in the other house, the windows were actually a lot more open, so you got more natural light coming in through the windows. And over here, you had the sliding doors. So this is more of like a middle class type of house. Very nice, great space. It is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. And then you got the nice recessed lights, nice flooring throughout the house. You got a deck, and from what I see in the picture, a sizable backyard. You have a renovated bathroom, very nice to look at, and you also got access to the waterfront right here. So as we scroll down, you got the nice description over here, just like I mentioned at the beginning, but I want to quickly scroll down to where the stats are, and you can see that the prices in this area have a bit of that upward trend, although there has been some corrections throughout the area. And so we can start looking at 2014 over here, and then the prices were somewhere in the $500,000, and then it went up in 2014 all the way to $789,800,000, and then it went down to 600. There was some price adjustments over here, and then as you scroll down, it continues to go up, and then right around the timing where the pandemic hit, you can see here that there's an upward trend going all the way up to a point where it hit $1 million, and now it just came back down. In terms of tax history, you can see here that there's a price change. It was originally sold in 1993 for $265,000, and then it dropped to $140,000 in 1993, and then it went back up again, and so on. So it's been a little bit of a volatile pricing, so to speak, in this area. I wouldn't be able to tell you the reasons why. I'm thinking it all has to do with demand and supply. Job opportunities typically are in the city, so the closer to the city, the higher the living cost. While over here, there's less jobs available in the area, and commuting to the city could be a little bit cumbersome if you're residing in this area. So for the most part, people will tend to want to live closer to where their jobs are, right? In terms of school ratings, for the first school, it's not available. And then for the second school, for Cold Spring, we have 7 out of 10. So that's a general overview of this area. And what we're going to do is just to quickly drive by. Again, we're not going to do any walkthroughs anymore because we don't want to creep people out. People are starting to make it back home from their jobs, and we don't want to make them feel uncomfortable in their homes. So let's check it out. And now we're going to transition into Anthony, who's going to show you how to do the QR code and also the stats that we've gotten so far.
So now let me show you how you can create that QR code so you can generate money for your business. Let's get started. So first of all, you're going to go to this platform that's called QR.io. Once you're there, you're just going to come here where it says create QR code. Once you go there, it's going to show you different options. So the one that we're going to pick for this video is going to be website URL. Once you head there and you click continue, it's going to ask you, okay, where do you want to send these people to? In my opinion, use this link to send people to your product or services. In this case, I'm just going to use this example and I'm going to send people to NOVARISEinvest.com/webinar. So when people scan, that's where they're going to go. Now you're going to be presented with options to customize this QR code. So you can change the color of the background. As you can see right here, just click these options and you're going to be able to customize whatever you want from this QR code. You can change the dots, you can change the marker border. But the one that I'm going to focus right now, and I think is really important, is going to be this one right here, the logo. So you're going to make sure you're going to add your logo because you don't want this just to look this empty, especially if you're putting this QR code in your car. You want people to recognize your logo because that's going to be creating brand awareness for your business. So if you don't have a logo, there are going to be some platforms that you can use in order to create this logo. You can pay someone between $5, $10, $15, $20 or $50 depending on how much is your budget. You can go to platforms like Fiverr.com and you can hire a freelancer to do it for you. So once you got your logo with you, right, it's going to ask you, okay, how do you want your logo to show? Do you want it to show like this? I prefer it to show circular, the same way that you see it right here. So in order to make that image or that graphic, you're gonna go to a platform that's called Canva.com. So in here, I already have my logo. So before the circular background that I added to this design, it used to look like this. So I didn't like that. So I added a circle behind the logo and this makes it much better. And once you're there, you're gonna make sure that you're gonna come here where it says share once you finish your logo. And then you're gonna come where it says download. And you're gonna click here on transparent background because you don't want this white space. You want it to be transparent. So when you add it to your design in QR.io, it looks much better. So once you have there, you're gonna download it. Once you download it, you simply are gonna come here and you're gonna upload your logo. So once I uploaded my logo, it's gonna look like this, as you can see right here in this design. Something very important to make your design look even better for your QR code is gonna be right here, remove the background behind the logo. So you're gonna click here because otherwise it's gonna look like that. And it doesn't look as pretty. So you just wanna remove those dots behind the circle. And that's why you're doing this. So it looks much better. If you saw our logo, right? You saw that we have some letters and it says scan me. So you can add it right here and you can just change the wording if you wanna add something different, but for the sake of this example, I'm just gonna leave it the way it is right now. Now that you are done with your design, here's what you can do. You can download this file and depending on what you picked for your design, it's gonna look like this. This is the way it looks, our QR code, and below this is gonna say scan me. Something extra that I want to add, since we pasted this QR code in our car, you're going to need to go to a car painting shop. So in the car painting shop, how much are they going to charge you to put this QR code? They charge us about $300 to put this QR code in our car. As you were able to see in our company car, we had one QR code, one in one side of the car, which was in English, and the other one was in Spanish. So we have one QR code on each side of the door. Something I want to add to the design that you are creating is that just do not have it as just scan me, because you need something extra in order for people to take action to scan that code. So what you're gonna do now is just gonna be, come here to download the design, come to canva.com, upload the design again, and try to add some extra wordings to this design. And what I mean by that is that as you were able to see the QR code in our car, it has the QR code and it has some letters on the top, right? So those letters on the top are making people interested in what we have to offer, because if you only have scan me and that's it, right? Not that many people are going to scan the QR code. So you want people to take action. And the best way of making someone take action is giving them something for free, giving them a discount, like 20% off, or giving like a free consultation about something. So in our case, we put in that QR code, we put something that said, learn how to invest in real estate for free. And that QR code is going to send people to our channel, or you can just send it to your own personal website. It's all up to you. All I'm saying is that whenever you are pasting this QR code in your car, whatever you want to paste it on, try to add some extra messaging, short messages, that's going to make your offer stand even more, so can people actually scan that QR code. Now I'm going to show you how many scans did we get in one day and throughout the lifetime that we have created this QR code. So in this platform, they're going to give you the option to see the analytics, how many people scan this QR code. So you're going to click here, 71 scans. This is the amount of scans that we have gotten in a period of approximately 1 year and 3 months. So, and you can click here to see the all time, which in our case, we have about 108 clicks. So as you go down, you're going to be able to see how many people have scanned this QR code. And as you can see, many people have scanned the QR code from different countries. And that's surprising to us, and I'm sure it's going to be surprising to you. And you might be wondering, who's scanning your car from all these countries? Is this software broken? And I'm telling you that is not. The reason why these scans are coming from these countries is because we are putting our car, our company car, in our videos in YouTube. So imagine this, somebody is watching our videos in the laptop, right? And they see our car, and our car has the QR code. So they're most likely willing to just pull up their phone and scan just for curiosity, and they're gonna go to our products and services. So most likely they will buy, maybe not now, but they just know that we have something there, and that's sparking interest in people's life. So you can see which city, which iPhone, and this is very, very important. So now I'm gonna pass it to Lucelia.
Now, I want to invite you to check out this episode on the site to learn all about the tax benefits of having a company car. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.